Welcome back to the Mystical Valley. We have seen Team Spirit unfortunately have to go, and we have another lower bracket elimination match for you. This one looking pretty exciting. It's NA versus SEA, and they are battling not just to win the major, not just to go to TI, but to finally discover who has the more toxic pubs. The winners will decide. First up, our first team, it's like TNT. They're explosive, and you're about to see them. Ladies and gentlemen, TNC!
TNC Predator.
伸ばした手にどうした溶け出す雨透き通ってる滑り落ちるいつか思い出した指先まで染みてるような深い瞳
And their opponents, the stars of North American DOTA. Yes, it is time for those fan favorites to come onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Evil Geniuses?
Evil Geniuses.
叫べいいえそのままでくだらないなんて言わせないこれが理想だ叫べ誰になれよ時が止まるならこの毎日を続けるよ一人だって
With our teams in the arena, the time has finally come for this elimination series. One must go home and one gets closer to the international. But who shall make it out alive? Well, perhaps the ramen shop will let us know with two mysterious and terrifying visitors.
Oh, this is cooking up to be a good matchup. I'm excited to jump in. That sounded terrible. I'm so sorry to everybody at home. But you know what I'm not sorry for? Yeah, I'm not sorry for how great this matchup's going to be. Jeez Louise, I think I just got fired for once again not knowing how to use cooking utensils. But let's talk about everything with this matchup because we've talked about basically everything else in the last Phil panel. So it's about time to put our attention on EG versus TNC. A lot to talk about with both of these squads. Who do we want to start with? How about TNC?
You know, I'm going to be honest. It's late enough in the tournament. I can just express my biases. I'm biased towards every team. I like all of these guys. They've all, every team so far has won me over, personally. TNC, to me, this is a team that looks like...
That is so brave.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you
What a
putting that out there.
cop-out.
That's brave.
That's a cop-out answer.
It's not a cop-out
It's
answer.
okay, I copped out.
All right, okay.
I copped out all the time.
Anyway. The problem is EG's right there, so I can't express bias towards TNC.
They can hear us.
They can hear us right now, so so of course.
Crit, no.
Is that Crit?
So of course EG. I think Crit is the best player on EG.
Agreed,
He's absolutely going to pop
agreed.
off this game. 1v5 sort of player. Anyway, let me talk about TNC for a second here, because this team. Be very quiet so Crit can't hear me. This team is the team that they can take other people's drafts and do them better. A lot of teams that are trying to do this, they just shit the bed. They try to pick some carry acts, and it doesn't work because they don't get it.
Right.
I don't know if it's the free flowing is the word that I like to, or combination of words that I like to use. A team that's comfortable, just like, yeah, whatever, you know, we're gonna push things to their limits and see if it works. Other teams, they'll pick the same draft as other teams, and they won't really push the limits, and so they can't figure out what actually works and why it actually works. And TNC is just the best at this. TNC and LGD.
Pick a team.
Pick a team. EG.
This is EG.
What is this?
You have to watch closely. If you pick EG's egg, EG wins.
But you didn't move it. Okay.
Okay. He just took the egg.
I think he put multiple eggs under to start.
You just grabbed the egg. You just picked a bowl up. Stop.
You think it's
Stop
I
it.
think
We
it's
have to decide together.
Okay. We'll pick one. I didn't agree to that.
Okay, so it seems that you guys predict that EG is going to win. How does TNC actually win this one? In all seriousness, I think TNC is the team that proved that they're on an upward trajectory. When they actually did play against EG, what happened? EG came out on top, but that was feels like a whole different tournament ago. It really does feel like, I think that's one of the really big takeaways I have with this format. It feels like we've had 3 separate tournaments, and I feel like the results have been different every step of the way.
And it's interesting to see how the meta shifted through each stage of the tournament. TNC got 2'd by EG really early on in the major.
Yep.
I wonder how they're going to look like now. I wonder, they've probably talked about this game a lot, right? They've probably talked about what they want to play. And I'm really interested to see if they're gonna show them what they're worth.
I agree. I think TNC is the type of team that I think they've improved a lot. The question is, have they improved fast enough? Because EG is also the type of team. During NADPC, we saw them a lot of times. They would have maybe one game against the top teams like Undying and Quincy, where like maybe it looked a bit shaky, and then immediately the next game they would turn it on, right? And they would just over the course of one game just like focus up. And they also will do that Singapore Major, like they'll do that from one day to the next day. But then it goes the other way as well. You have the infamous question mark. That's on everybody's mind whenever we watch EG play.
Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. When we actually do look at EG, all things considered, with what we have seen from the squad, do you think that they've been living up to their expectations, or the expectations, Mira, that you would have for this team?
I thought that EG would do a bit better in the group stage. But I'm not sure, to be honest. It seems like EG love to draft to win lanes, and sometimes that comes at the expense of having more cohesion in their team fight and in the way that they play the mid game. I would like to see them not just go all in on this lane dominance and try to play for all phases of the game, but I do think they have performed, just maybe not in a way that pushed them outside of their box, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's the argument of like they're guaranteed TI, right? So
I think that
I hate that
argument is
argument.
bullshit.
It's absolute garbage.
I said that yesterday just for reference.
I think you're an
I
idiot,
said,
Jenkins.
I said on the 4 a.m. panel, I said I think that's bullshit.
Oh, you said that.
I said I think
think
it's
you're
bullshit.
a 5-head. No, I really do think that I think it's lazy when people say like, oh, the team's here, like, if they don't perform well, it's because they're not hungry enough.
Yeah.
These are the best Dota teams in the entire world.
Absolutely.
They want to win, and yes, obviously TI is the carrot on the stick, and it's not a carrot on a stick. It's like it's the reason to be a Dota pro, right? Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is legitimately everything. But you look at every team, and they have something else that they're trying to go for, right? You look at there are multiple arcs to the anime. You look at a team like Alliance. You can't tell me that team didn't have so much to prove, regardless of
They did.
TI. And you can't chalk up their losses to not being hungry enough or something
Yeah,
like that.
definitely. I think it's worth mentioning that like all of the people that are competing at this level wouldn't be at this level if they didn't have something that's motivating them. That's beyond. It's not about money. It's not about winning TI. It's not about any of this bullshit. It's that these are competitors, right? Like
It's insane. Like, actually talking to even the hosts, like, no offense, just like not normal. It's like it's this drive to win, and it's everywhere in what they do, how they think. And when you actually talk to these pro players, like, they are talking about winning. They are remembering losses that they have from like 30 years ago.
Right.
It's just not. They're not normal. They are, in a lot of ways, superheroes, and their capes are Dota.
But it's that personality trait that pushes these people to compete at the highest level. You have to want to win, and you have to want to be the best all the time. And I think EG is a team that wants to be the best. So saying that they're not hungry enough is unfair to the other teams. I think maybe they got caught off guard a little bit by how good teams like LGD were, because I do think EG went into this major wanting to win. I don't think they went into this major just to play casually.
I agree. I do think there is a real argument, and so this doesn't really apply to EG because they're a team that had to play through the group stage and through the whole tournament. But I do think there's an element of these scrims are not high pressure scenarios. You're playing against teams that are not necessarily going to be picking their best stuff. They're not going to last pick Brood you. They're not going to last pick Bristleback you unless there's a specific thing that they're trying to learn. It is really hard to replicate an actual competitive environment in a scrim environment. And so I do think, and it's pretty easy to say this because of all the teams that have gotten knocked out of the direct to playoff teams, but I do think that there is a huge advantage in actually playing through the group stage.
100%. Yeah, definitely
I
agree
agree
with you.
with that.
And I didn't think this at the start of the tournament. I thought that was bullshit. But this is something that this tournament is proving to me personally that it seems like, at least right now, with how the current Dota patch is, for whatever reason, that has extreme value, playing under pressure. Maybe it's all the group fighting that's happening.
Yeah,
One fight determines the game.
Well, like, think about it like this. I mean, on an individual team level, you have a really small sample size of all the teams that have been waiting here, right? You get to see maybe 2 games of Dota out of them. I think how it ended up going was it was like 2 O's then 2 1s, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
But a small sample size of Dota from all those squads. But when you group them together based off of the fact that they got here early, the only teams that made it directly into the playoffs based off of the league placements,
Yeah.
the only teams that are still here from that are the ones that played against the other squads that were here. So, it's what? Quincy and T1. And now one of them is going to get dropped down by the other, I believe, in the next matchup. So we still really haven't seen a squad that made it from the league perform well against one of these teams that's basically had a whole extra tournament under their belt on this meta with the best practice you could possibly have on the most competitive level. I think the one oddity that I will bring up, though, is some of these teams, I think, took teams like Team Spirit, for example, not serious enough. I feel like there wasn't enough respect for a squad like that.
That's interesting to say because I don't think it was a lack of respect. I think it was just team spirit performing better than people thought they would because they were getting better through the group stages. I really think that if Team Spirit hadn't played so much Dota, they wouldn't have been able to put on the performance that they did yesterday, for example.
Agree, and I think TNC is another team that might be in that
Yeah.
position.
100%.
So these group stages are kind of like a hyperbolic time chamber or something. You know, these teams are training in there, and they're looking better than all of these teams.
What
in
is a
there.
hyperbolic trainer? Isn't that
It's
the
like
Dragon Ball Z.
Goku super push-ups on
I thought it was the thing that made cars go
ultra
up and down.
gravity.
No, it's a chamber in Dragon Ball
That's
Z.
hydraulics.
Stop it. It's not a hyperbolic time
So,
chamber.
so it's from that one anime,
Dragon
the one,
Ball Z.
Oh, no, the one with Han Solo, and they put him in the hyperbolic chamber, and he comes out, and he's a
in
piece of
Dragon
pencil.
Ball Z,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you need to train, you go to the hyperbolic time chamber where time goes really slowly, and you can sit there for like a day, but you've been training in there for like a bajillion years.
You're a true weeb. We've talked quite a bit about anime. I've never seen Dragon Ball Z.
No, you haven't.
I'm serious. I've never seen it because I feel like it's a fake anime.
What? Here's the thing: if you
I
watched
trust your taste. I'm
no,
basically
listen,
asking
listen.
you right
If
now.
you watched it today, you would think it was absurd and poorly paced and very corny.
People say that
compared
about
to-
my panel, so I'm not scared.
and like very corny compared to a lot of other anime today. But for its time, it was iconic. It shaped anime. Man.
It looks like shit, to be completely honest. I've never been able to watch it, and so many people love it so much. I'm sorry for everybody who I've offended, but yeah, it's. I think One Piece is a superior anime.
Anyway,
think so
I do
too,
want to
yeah.
say something. As a kid,
It's superior for sure. One Piece is amazing. Dragon Ball Z is just an icon.
I have a very important point to make. When I was a child, okay, I really enjoyed. Don't laugh. This is my childhood story, Effie. She just laughs the moment I bring up my childhood, which, to be fair, was quite pathetic. But you know, the guy running on the bridge, he died, and then he ran on the bridge in Dragon Ball Z. It's like 40 episodes of just running. And I want to say, as a child, I really enjoyed that. Okay, but at that same age time, I was getting it sent onto the principal's office for eating crayons. And they were very worried about seriously worried about my health.
Yeah.
And so I think that the crayons could have induced some sort of state where almost like I'm, on some sort of drug. Maybe the crayons back then had lead in them or something like that. And so I think maybe that's why I would go home and I'd watch Dragon Ball Z and I really enjoy it. So it's hard to say.
I have an embarrassing anime story as well.
Okay.
So back in the day, did you ever see the anime Cyborg 009? Okay, so this is it's a deep cut anime. It was on Toonami, and I used to watch Cyborg 009, and there was a moment where they were all they were animatrons, and when they clicked their teeth, okay, I'm not allowed to tell the story. It involves me getting beat up because of my braces. But let's see who's gonna get beat up in this match. We're gonna go over to the draft panel.
That was the worst transition I've ever been a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the draft panel. We have an elimination match here for you. Evil Genius fans, hands up in the chat. TNC lovers, hands up also in the chat. I just like it when people throw hands. It is Kyle and Owie here for a excellent draft analysis time. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good.
We don't have time to talk about
sorry.
it as the draft is already nearly underway. Kyle, what team do you think, don't say any words here that could incriminate a team or not. What team do you think have good, unique drafts in this series? Not who's going to win or lose.
Well, I think TNC has done a nice job of iterating.
Iterating.
I think that
Good attempt.
after the first couple, I don't remember if it was day 2, or no, I think it was day 3 of the group stage where they 4-0'd. That was very impressive, and it was because they did a pretty big style shift. What I expect out of this match is probably once again EG going single core. It's been working for them. They're very resistant to change. TNC, I think, should lean on maybe their mag strats. They ran Wyvern twice to beat Team Aster. I expect that to be highly contested in the opening here.
Very good. My bunny brother, what are your thoughts? What should we see?
I think if you look at the heroes picked at this event for the teams, EG, I think they've won all their Terrorblade games, and they've looked good with Ancient Apparition. I think those are their 2 key heroes. And on TNC side, it's the Magnus, as Kyle mentioned, and I think their TA is really strong. They showed that they can win games that they shouldn't be able to win with Templar Assassin. Like, they beat a Morphling Brood core lineup with a TA solo core. It made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, that whole game didn't really make any sense. That was wild to watch.
And that game made me think, like, even if they're at a disadvantage in the game, like, they will do anything to get an advantage to equal a win. It's very impressive.
There we go. The standard Mars pickup, as we've seen so many times. Wyvern still in the pool, so most likely we'll see somebody be picking that up.
What's really interesting, though, is that looking through the draft, TNC, they played Mars once on the first day of the tournament against Vici. They lost that, and looking through, it was oftentimes ignored by them in the opener. It's not banned, it's not picked, there's a bunch of games that just slip through. So I'll be curious to see what EG has prepared in advance, because typically, even if in your scouting you don't see a team run a hero, you're still going to prepare for it if it's a top meta pick. And immediately EG, especially with Brood Band, they look to go Viper. This is flex for both Abed. We saw Arteezy play it. That won't happen again, but it's one of Ice's better heroes, and the break mechanic's pretty good.
Hello! It's been a minute since we've seen that one. Sorry. Team Green coming out here, Owie 2000. Vipers for the break, right? Is that what he's
I think-
primarily used
I think
for?
you pick Viper for lane dominance.
Ah.
Like, the break is there, it's good, and it's very good in specific matchups like for Spectre. It's also nice for Mars, but
Yeah.
Viper's a hero at this tournament where I feel like he hasn't, despite how hard he wins lane, he hasn't like transitioned into the mid-late game as a force.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, that's what Effie was saying on the panel, where EG just basically draft for lanes. Earth Spirit isn't the strongest laner necessarily, but with a Viper off lane or mid, the key is that it allows for kills. And Earth Spirit, you typically want to have at least 2 lanes that you're a threat in. If that's a mid and off lane, that's ideal, because then you can kind of just play off map in the bottom enemy jungle, and you're threatening both lanes at once. And Viper also doesn't mind being left alone for the extra XP.
I think isn't it hard to leave Viper alone? He's like really slow, he's so susceptible. You would have to win the lane first before you leave him, right? Get him some tanky items. I think this game, this looks to be TNC's dual offlane. I mean, they could switch this Lina to mid, which is good from first pick. You want to flex sort of a support in the core because you're not going to see the last enemy core. But in my head, like, if you pick this Earth Spirit versus Mars Lina, it means that you really want to roam onto that lane. Sort of pick a strong safe lane with high damage, and then when the Earth Spirit TPs in, he just can secure any kills there.
TNC, they definitely did some prep because they've picked Lina once. It was overall last pick. Obviously, they bump it up, I think, mostly just because of the flex value it provides, but EG don't have any tape on the opening from TNC.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the Earth Spirit. Am I crazy, or is Tim's like one of the greatest Earth Spirits of all time? Am I wrong on that? Am I thinking the wrong guy?
I think maybe you meant to say crit.
Yes.
Crit, Jerax,
Yeah.
DK,
Yes.
like those are the...
But Tim's used to play it too. Pretty
I mean,
sure.
he plays a good Earth Spirit for sure, but honestly, when you say Earth, I think of Jerax and Crit the most out of
Yeah.
anyone.
Goddamn Zoomers. You don't know
Zoomers.
the classic. But at any rate, all I'm saying is, I feel like Earth Spirit, there's a reason we don't see him too many times. Effie taught me that, the lack of cheap TPs makes roaming a little bit harder, maybe a little bit slower. We don't see a lot of teams picking this one. Any particular reason why? I mean, I guess you did touch on it, Owie. It's all about lane dominance for EG.
I think Earth Spirit's just low damage. All the forwards that are popular right now have a lot of burst damage nukes. Earth Spirit has AoE sustained damage, and teams in this meta are just so good at kiting around the fights. You're not really going to get like a 5-man magnetize. Teams are also really good at focusing the hero that overcommits, and that's like the definition of Earth Spirit as a hero. However, I do think the hero's a little bit undervalued right now. I've seen teams just go for like earn into BKB on him, and when they are able to get to those items, he looks pretty decent.
I agree with that because you're naturally very tanky,
Yeah, I
super
think
high
he has
strength
like
gain.
3.9 strength gain, I think.
Yeah.
It's really high.
The issue is also that you're hard countered by BKB. Like, the hero just doesn't do
Yeah,
anything.
that's true.
Whereas you think about a hero like Wyvern, that's got an amazing save mechanic, the burst and kiting you're looking for out of a force, so you still apply damage, but then the ultimate is just a game changer. Whereas Earth Spirit, every core is buying BKB. So at a point, you just get ignored.
I will say though, if you can find a way to get your own BKB, and you can sort of like roll in BKB and trade your BKB for the enemy's cores, that's when that hero can look very good. I mean, in my head, like, there's no real reason why Earth Spirit should be unpickable, especially in the hands of someone that's capable as Crit.
Yep.
Another reason why Earth Spirit might have fallen off a bit is just the existence of these water runes. Mid heroes have more sustain, they're higher HP. That means that Earth Spirit, traditionally the best mid ganker in the game, has a harder time getting kills in that lane.
I love this. I was thinking about the Abaddon, whether or not we would see it. Had some success yesterday. Well, they may have lost that final game, but the no-ping Abaddon, I think, was very solid.
Even in their Quincy series too, right?
Yeah.
Hello.
In EG, they're also taking a page of the no-ping playbook. So this is cool because it leaves their draft totally open. This could be, likely it's an Arteezy,
Yeah, I think almost for certain.
but the Viper could be mid or off, the NP could be 1 or 3, so your last pick is still any core, but it's very good against Abaddon as a concept because the hero has no stun. You want to be able to play as sort of a counter to the Earth Spirit and the Lion's rotations, but Furion can make a move and then immediately be at the other side of the map pressuring a tower. So you're going to have this numbers advantage from EG and a natural tempo, plus something I think way back Shanghai Major that Puppy was first 2ing. Lion plus Prophet is such an insane kill combo because you have so much CC, it sets up for the teleport. If you get an early Orchid, like a hero just dies if they're hexed.
Yeah, I think the carry Furions are going for even this Witchblade, which is even more damage to Orchid, same concept. I think something that you touched on there I found really interesting was that you have Abaddon for the saves, but if you have a carry Nature's Prophet who can TP in and provide the extra damage, maybe you have enough to get through that Mist Coil and Shield.
Also very nice when you have two supports that, I mean, I don't want to say Earth Spirit is squishy, but you're relatively one-dimensional. You're going to try to find kills.
He pushes all the lanes for them, right?
Yeah.
Like Viper sort of pushes lanes, but he's a slow immobile hero. Lion and Earth Spirit are two of the worst lane pushers in the game. So having Nature's Prophet means that you can always run at your opponent for kills. Your map state, like, theoretically should always be better than enemies.
And this is the TNC utilizing a hero that T1 had a lot of success with, but don't see the combo yet. You could take over the enemy Earth Spirit, I suppose.
I think it's enough just to take the Earth Spirit. Yeah, that one's really good. Even like Lion, I think it's pretty strong. I've seen it. If you gank a Viper, you can take the Nether Toxin, remove the break, burst him down with magic damage. He has decent targets, so I don't really think they need something like a Willow to make this Morphling hero work.
Gotcha. You'll be curious to see what they go for here. Lina as a mid hero is pretty scary from the TNC's perspective, just because I think you might get roamed on too hard. Lina's biggest issue is her squishiness. You're playing against a Prophet, potentially a Viper mid with Earth Spirit off map, and Prophet is certainly a hero that can be left alone in the off lane. And with an Abaddon Morph as your laning combination, that just sucks. Like, Abaddon can't even touch Prophet. It's going to be a 1-on-2 scenario where the Prophet will go even, and then mid can just be constantly pressured. That tower could die on first catapult.
Wait, so you think they're going to put Prophet 3?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Prophet
Once you
3
see the
won't
morph.
pressure Morphling at all.
Really?
I think there's no chance. The nerfs to the Treants are too much. I think this game, EG should put Earth Spirit, Nature's Prophet in the safe lane. Nature's Prophet sort of enables him to do what you were saying, but from the safe lane instead. And you put this like double range Lion Viper against Abaddon Morphling. Like that sounds like a really hard lane for Morphling.
Okay. No, that makes sense. You both outrange and top.
Yeah.
Mars can't really trade with Furion, and it's not the Treants that will zone the lane, but more just the right click.
I think
the right
EG's
zone.
safe lane, they're really good at utilizing Arteezy to get their pulls off. So if Lina comes across to the side and Furion has TP or even just Treants there already, you always secure the pulls. If you can secure the pulls, laning it's very like structured and easy. Because you always have like either you're pulling, splitting their attention, or you create a double wave where you're stronger than them. It's very fluid.
Last ban Wyvern. That's pretty interesting. Teams have been picking that so early, but I think Wyvern would it really fit in here?
Well, they were scared of the Lina mid, I guess, with a Wyvern 4. Honestly, I don't think they had to ban that, but maybe they have some read on that hero. He is very good versus Nature's Prophet. The Neil Curse, they buffed in the last patch. I think he gives 60 or 70 attack speed now, I can't remember. But I know like 9 from Tundra. I watched him play a couple of Winter Wyvern games mid. He played versus Topson's Puck. And at level 6, he just solo killed him with 4 creeps on the Curse. So it's the same thing with Furion. If you're next to some creeps, next to your Treants, the Curse can definitely have a high impact.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. They could theoretically look to set up for the Morphling mid, just because both side lanes look really rough. And Morph Abaddon is just, you know, in concept, it's a really cool lane because Morph goes full agi, gets healed up, go back and fight. But EG, as always, they have gone for full lane dominance and have last pick to be able to pretty much read TNC's lanes and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, and the Morphling Abaddon, like, it would be good if you're playing for burst damage, right? You can out-sustain them, but EG just have a lot of sustained damage. Oh, so they do go for the Lina mid.
I am not a huge fan of Rubik here. You're playing against a ton of tempo. Fade Bolt's not terrible at D-pushing, but my concern is that right now, yeah, Arteezy asks for the Prophet, and he can just straight up take over a game.
So you pick Puck last pick, that means it's going to be the Viper in the off lane.
Yeah. This is the dream carry Prophet game because you're playing up against two supports that you just absolutely crush. Pre-level 6, these supports are worthless against you. Your mid lane is a strong ganker that can get 1 rune and make a move. Bottom lane, if it's Viper Lion, as you said, I think that's very powerful against a Morph lane. And they can just crush the map.
I feel like the Lina's just going to feed. Anytime he has Coil, you have Earth Spirit TP in, maybe Fly's already there, and the Furion just TPs in, you collapse on that lane really quickly, it'll be really hard to react to. They have an Abaddon, but I think you just out-damage the heals.
it feels like a repeat of the Game 3 from late last night, where you had a Mars on Dark Mago mid that was the only real playmaker. This time it'll be offlane, but it's kind of that same thing where if you don't have Arena, what's the actual counter gank? Like, if EG all in on Lina, what do? Heal him? Like,
yeah, it's hard for sure. With that said, if TNC can survive the lanes, if they outplay EG, as I think they probably play better than them in their game 2. It's just Arteezy 1v5 that game a bit. I think they outscaled them, right? Morphling in the late game this game should be very strong. I don't see anything that really threatens him. And I think we've seen Lina, particularly from Nothing to Stay, like, he's looked like a hard carry. So they do have the scale.
All right, well, I am going to go ahead and not let you guys predict because I'd actually like to see the game instead of already know how it will end thanks to Kyle's horrifying curse. So we will go straight to our casters for EG versus TNC Game 1.
Thank you, panel. Sunsfan here with Cinderin. We have quite the matchup, my friend. TNC versus EG, best of 3. Loser goes home. Winner goes forward in the tournament and gets secured top 6. What are your thoughts on the matchup overall?
So I believe we've seen EG play 5 games before this one. They got a 2-1 yesterday and they got 2-0. No, wait, what am I talking about? They've only played 1 series. They've only played the one yesterday. We've only seen 3 games.
No, they were in the group stage.
Right, but in the playoffs.
Oh, in the playoffs.
As far as the playoffs go, they've only played 1 series, right? So haven't seen too much of them on the big stage so far, but they did manage to get their 2-1 yesterday. In the groups, they kind of broke even. I think, did they get a 7-7 score, actually? That's how I remember it, at least.
6-6 last I checked.
Yeah,
was it
I
only
think
12 or yeah, I can't remember. Why are you asking me these questions? I don't know the
Sorry.
answers. I'm not a freaking encyclopedia. You're the one that's supposed to be the encyclopedia.
EG have looked so-so, I think, overall. And now it's time to really show up and show why you were in the grand finals at the last major and why you, in many ways, probably should have won that last major.
Yep, that is correct.
So we see quite some. The panel we're talking about, especially Kyle was mentioning TNC as being innovative. I think EG are pulling out some really different stuff in this game. They're playing a Carry Fury on Arteezy, or the Nature's Prophet. They have Crit on Earth Spirit, which isn't really innovative, but is something no other team is running here. It is obviously one of Crit's favorite heroes. And EG continue their style, I would say, in this tournament, where compared to a lot of other teams, they're very lane-oriented, very lane-heavy in their focus, but sacrifice teamfight a little bit. Their teamfight this game consists of Puck and Earth Spirit, which might sound good, but if you consider for the rest of the tournament, we've had teams pick like these Wyvern, Phoenix, Mars combinations, Magnus, Faceless Void, all these big arena ultis. EG's lineup doesn't have too much of that.
I mean, TNC, all they have is Mars.
All they have is Arena, which is also a bit uncharacteristic here. I think for TNC, also not too teamfight heavy. They've managed to, or they've decided rather, to go with a Rubik position 4, which I think is the first time they've run that, at least at the playoffs here. And Boomy will be playing at position 5 Abaddon. So definitely a lot of creativity going into this draft. I'm with AUI on his read on the game that if this goes late, I do favor TNC overall. I think this is a really good Morphling game once he has a lot of items. But obviously you have to bridge the gap between the early game and that late game before you get there. And there are some threats to him here. There's Puck Silence, Earth Spirit Silence, Lion Hex. Plenty of things that can catch that Morphling, so they've definitely made sure to target Gabby overall. Who do you favor in this series? So going in for me, I actually think TNC is the favorites for me, personally, just based on overall performance in the tournament so far.
Well, it depends on your perspective. So are you asking who I think has looked better at this tournament so far? Because if so, TNC, easily. Right. EG has, it's one of those things where you don't have that big, like, high expectation for TNC to start, and they've just impressed you. And you've had really high expectations for EG, and they've disappointed. So the question is, how far have they fallen in those terms? But I've said this on many occasions. I think on paper, EG, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better 5 players together, just without even talking about the games played.
Right, so just like in the individual players' proficiency in their role.
If I was building a roster and I could choose anybody I want, these 5 would be in contention for each specific position.
Right.
You know, so
yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's fair.
I think. I mean, what are your thoughts on the whole idea? As obviously the game is paused. We're not pausing the game in order to have one of our beautiful conversations.
I'm really angry today, so I'm delaying the game.
Yeah. Which plugs did you pull here, buddy? But the Nature's Prophet for Arteezy, this is something he's pulled out a couple times in the NADPC. And I mean, again, it's NADPC, so there's only like 3 good teams. So I don't know how much you can take from those games particularly, but obviously it did look good at the time.
I don't know about Carry Nature's Prophet in general in this patch. Like, I would say it's had its phases in previous metas and in previous patches where it's been really good. But right now, with how the teams are playing at this tournament, I'll just be honest, I'm not sold. I kind of need to be won over here that this is going to look amazing. I see a lot of trouble for Nature's Prophet if he doesn't snowball, and we've seen a lot of the games in this tournament go relatively late, or carries start getting 3, 4, 5 items. Nature's Prophet's ability as a carry to win against other carries relies on being ahead. Like, if you give the same net worth to Nature's Prophet as any of like the top 10 meta carries, they're probably more value, right? So the trade-off that you need to get out of this hero is the early pressure. It's to get those towers. It's to get ahead and stay ahead, and really pressure the map. So yeah, we'll see how that all works out. Guess one hero that is also worth highlighting here overall is going to be the Abaddon from Boomy. Obviously, being played as a position 5, it will more or less only be a hard save, which is also another thing in this tournament that's become really popular, is saves, right? We've got the Wyvern with the healing build, Oracle has been becoming more popular, Abaddon, all these IO for Enigma with the Holy Locket builds. This is a difficult Abaddon game, I think. I'm looking forward to seeing if Boomy can pull it off. It's hard to play this hero into multiple silences.
Yep, that is true.
When we get started.
Obviously, Aphotic Shield has super low range, so positioning is going to be very important. But another thing that has been very important this tournament, not that it's not important in Dota in general, but I feel like this patch in particular, the Roshan, especially specifically the second one, neither team has crazy Rosh, but I feel like from EG's side, obviously this is a more early game centric lineup that you want to finish, you know, by the 30-minute mark, 35 minutes. Typically the second Rosh will be taken by that time. Do you think they can do it fast enough? I mean, it's just Nature's Prophet to tank a bit with, obviously he's going to go some sort of, I mean, he has the Blightstone already. I don't know if he actually goes Deso. I don't think I've ever seen him do that, but...
Right.
Like, how's the Rosh potential for each respective team?
The item I'm always looking for if you're going Rosh with a lineup that isn't good at it is Solar Crest, right?
Which anybody can buy.
Who do you buy that on EG? Do you buy it on Earth Spirit? I feel like Earth Spirit really wants BKB this game. I could see Crit go earn BKB or Veil BKB. If he thinks it's good, I personally don't think you should go Vestal. Even though you're against Morphling, you're also against Abaddon, who can take it off. Morph will naturally want to itemize probably a Manta or a BKB here regardless against the silences, so your Vestal might have a short moment of opportunity only. But yeah, knowing Crit, this is definitely a game where he wants BKB relatively quickly, so I don't know. Like, I don't think you can go Crest BKB and expect to get BKB at the time in this game that you want it. Because like we've already alluded to a couple of times now, EG's lineup really wants to peak at that 20-minute mark, right? Yeah. You're not going to get Crest BKB on your position 4 at Spirit minute 20. That is just not happening.
Yeah, and then
this is kind of how I feel about this pause right now. It's very, it's a good metaphor. This is not how I feel about this pause right now.
Wait, you don't like the original look of Puck without cosmetics?
I just had this. Oh, okay. We're having a little bit.
That
of
is an interesting pose.
Kind of
yeah.
Sleeping.
Not safe for work, that one, I think. But speaking of like the Solar Crest, Lion for Fly obviously wants to go with the Blink deck. I don't think he's ever going to be able to afford anything like a Solar Crest on top of that. Plus, it might be too late at that point. Blink Dagger is just like a must-have, it feels like. But yeah, what are your thoughts like through the tournament so far? Since we have time to, we could just have a little podcast right now if you want.
Yes.
What have you liked about the patch that maybe surprised you in this specific tournament that you maybe weren't seeing a whole lot of prior to?
I don't know what has really like surprised me that I enjoy. I think the patch in general is just delivered, right? Like there's a lot of action. There's a lot of team fighting. It seems very well balanced in terms of what teams are drafting. I guess maybe the patch is still very team fight heavy, and maybe it leaves a bit to be desired in the way of split pushing. But even that, we've seen a little bit more of, I would say, in this patch than previous ones.
I mean, does anybody really miss split pushing, Cinderin? Let's be real.
It's an
other
integral...
than Alliance.
Yeah.
If that was
they miss it dearly.
They'd still be here for sure.
But yeah,
I agree.
Overall, I feel like it's enjoyable, right? The lanes matter, team fights matter. Overall, I guess in a way, I don't know if this should be surprising or not, but even though we were expecting the second Roche to be important, maybe it's even more important than we thought, right? I guess in a way that is surprising that it decides the game that much, and I do think once this tournament is over, we're going to see that change.
What would you change?
I don't think it should drop the shard.
I love the fact that it...
Then it shouldn't drop cheese.
Right. I'm fine getting rid of the cheese.
Yeah.
You can delete cheese from the game entirely. I'm fine with that.
I would also be okay with that, to be honest.
Shard dropping is such a cool aspect to the second Roche. And
I'm okay with that.
I mean, again, it comes down to, we've talked about this so many times, so many knobs for Ice Frog to have to dial in to be able to balance. And like 1,400 gold for this item, and it's not worth 1,400 gold on some, and it's worth way more on others. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting concept. But
I mean, that's obviously also going to be a part of balancing off the Roche, right? Is making sure that the shards feel evenly distributed, because like we're talking about how crucial the second Roche is, because usually the teams are drafting specifically for heroes that shard is really good on. But if the really absolutely best shards get nerfed and the worst ones get buffed, you might reach this equilibrium where it doesn't maybe feel as impactful. Because every game we've seen so far in this tournament, more or less, that second Roche, the shard is just going on an S-tier hero for it, right?
What if, okay, just hear me out here, whoever kills the second Roche, the lowest net worth hero on their team automatically consumes it. And it keeps going up based on who already has it at that point.
I like that. You know what? That means if you have a read in the game that you're just slightly ahead in net worth of the bottom, you just take one of your items and break it right before Roche dies so you can get the shard.
We have new metagame of dropping your items as Roche goes down.
This is a good start, by the way, for Armel. We haven't talked about this too much during the casting, I do think, but getting the level 1 D ward for that extra 100 gold as well as the experience, this matters. The higher the level of play, the more these small advantages matter. And Armel is already playing in, you know, a matchup that I think nowadays is probably relatively even, and this could maybe swing the scales in his favor. Puck, if you go back a year, I think would just be favored against Lina. I think now with all these runes and just the abundance of water,
there is quite a bit of water.
You can probably break even with Lina here. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I remember last tournament, in terms of the majors, that is, EG, Abed specifically played basically 2 heroes the whole tournament.
Puck and
Storm Spirit, and yeah, this Puck right here. But like you said, has gotten some tweaks and hasn't been as favorable. I mean, typically you would... This was a later pick in the draft, I think, right? This was the last pick, if I'm not mistaken, from EG, unless I'm just completely... Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah.
Which, again, last patch... wouldn't have happened. This was a very high priority pick.
Yeah. And it has been in some of the series here, not necessarily like first phase as it was back then, but it has not been a last pick only.
Right.
Especially some of the Chinese teams have liked picking a third pick when they get a little bit of information and they want to buy themselves some time in the draft with choosing their other course. Even though I think they've exclusively played at mid, Puck doesn't really have many terrible matchups. Like, it can hold its own against basically everything. Bach is taking quite a beating here.
Yep, Fly, another Earth Spike. This, I believe, is the third one with the Fabled.
Oh, the body blocks.
The right clicks are enough. First blood for EG, and this is exactly what they need with this high-tempo, kind of earlier game lineup. As Crit, looks like he pulled a wave here. And Boomy wants to try to pull this off a bit. You're talking about these mid heroes, and it's funny, after all these changes and all these tweaks, Queen of Pain still completely missing in action. Feels like a last resort if all your other heroes are taking, like, I guess I'll take Queen of Pain.
That's cool. Quap was meta for like a week. That's the best she's had in 5 years. So
was that the Mjolnir with the spell lifesteal thing?
Oh, that was a
that's
couple
true,
years ago.
actually.
At this
That's
been 2 weeks, I guess.
That was kind of fun. But yeah, pretty annoying here to deal with when she is in meta. As we see, Abed will be able to get this bottom water rune. And it looks like the top rune was actually being held by Crit, so Armel won't be able to get one for himself. In fact, finds the right clicks of Crit, gets slowed down a bit, and now TP to fill that bottle. Oh wait, does he not have one?
He TP'd for the salve. He was already in top lane. This is a really high impact rotation from Crit, actually. Just denying the water rune and forcing the Abaddon TP. And forcing that salve out means that this salve is now not available in the top lane, and maybe they can get that extra bit of pressure out on the Morphling as a result. Gabby only 2 tangos. There's a lot of regen currently sitting on Ice Ice Ice. He's more than happy to trade, even unfavorably, just because he has an abundance of regen. It could work out just fine anyway. Need to make sure you get the CS, though. Missing a couple of easy ones there, just warming up.
Yeah, a little bit late on the bottle in the mid lane. That kind of surprised me from Armel's perspective, but does have it now, so we'll see who gets the rune advantage as the water runes are going to be back up again in about 50 seconds here. But you can see the CS very, very even to start things out in that mid lane. So we'll see how this continues to go. But I mean, in terms of rotation, once Abed hits level 6, that's when you get that first coil on somebody, probably a rotation mid, if anything. But how does Alina like to play? Is it kind of similar where you get this Laguna Blade in one of these side lanes, or? Oh, we're gonna have a jump in. Armel looks like he'll get slowed by crit to start things out. Illusory orb, but yeah, not enough.
So I think in this game, Lina, realistically speaking, only really ganks bot, right? When there's an arena, maybe you connect with a quick Laguna kill and go back to mid. But I think it's a very good point how Puck wants to play, because you have some very good friends to play with Coil here. There's Nature's Prophet safe lane. Let's not underestimate how much this can pressure Lina mid. That you always have this +1 you can bring in behind the tower to try to bully Armel, as Tim's
looks like
is in
Tim's
trouble.
might take a tumble here, but there. Ooh! Okay, that was not the greatest coordination. Telekinesis out of the LSA. Now he's going to try to turn this around, but we'll just do a little chip damage and away they go. Actually, Armel has a bit of a level advantage right now, obviously helping out with that first ward that you were talking about, but I mean, this is like a quarter level at this stage. So he's
There's
done
a couple
very
more
nice
denies.
job.
He's 4 denies ahead of Abed. Getting some more damage out.
I'm not sure if
Obviously,
any
the
XP was
raindrops.
taken by crit, but he's been in the mid lane a little bit more often than the TNC members so far.
Yeah, he might have taken 1 or 2 creeps of experience, but it definitely wasn't much. This is mainly adding up to the denies, I think. But yeah, as expected, mid overall pretty even, right? You have the water rune trades and the first ward rather dewarded by Armel. Pretty much constitutes a minimal advantage.
Yeah,
The nighttime.
I mean, this isn't really a bold prediction or anything like that, but last time we saw Arteezy play the Nature's Prophet, 20-minute shard is going to be pretty important timing to allow you to get those 2 greater treants that really become annoying.
Oh, Fly's in trouble
to be
here.
able to push. Yeah, you can see Arteezy TPing back as Fly. All right, that was a little bit of a wraparound there. Bach looks like he's going to back off for now, but the Sprout being used for a little bit of vision here. Now Bach taking some right clicks from Arteezy. Not going to be enough quite yet. Does get the vision in the end, though, and that will be a kill for Arteezy. It was kind of a separated fight between the supports and the cores, if you will. As now Ice in the top lane getting chased by Boom. He has the Aphotic Shield applied, but here comes Crit to try to slow. And it looks like Ice will survive with that salve on top now.
And they also find Tim's bot in the meantime, just in the end. They chased him really, really far with Nature's Prophet and Lion, ultimately getting him. I don't know, there's been a little bit... I don't know if it's because they haven't played it so much. That is unexpected from Gabby.
Preventing the use of attribute shifts, so a great double wombo combo there, if you want to call it that, for EG. That's a huge kill on the laning stage.
It is very, very big. They're starting to build a significant advantage at this point. 2K gold lead minute 6, but what I was going to say was these telekinesis usages have not looked like they were really on the same page.
Yeah.
I don't know. They haven't played very much Rubik, at least not in the playoffs here. Just seem a little bit not on the same page with how exactly they want to handle this.
Coil, Abed, you can see that ult from Arteezy coming in with crits, right clicks to help out. He's actually going to survive for now. Gets up a nice LSA, but with Fly here to help out, that is going to be a dead Lina and a regen rune on Abed, as the Fade Bolt's going to cancel at Tim's. Now getting surrounded, only level 3, so the telekinesis, not a very high level, but you can see the TP support coming in, and Abed's just going to be fine trying to get this farm here. But yeah, great start from EG. I mean, again, this is not a lineup that you want to start up behind on. You have to get off to a good start. The question is, how long can they maintain this lead? Because there is a certain threshold, like the panel was talking about, like you alluded to, where TNC's lineup, just on paper, just the lineup itself is just going to be stronger.
Yeah, it's definitely still far away. You need a couple of key items before you can truly start thinking about that, such as BKBs or Mantas.
I'm always thinking about the late games.
I know. You love your 75-minute games.
When I see a lineup like, which one would be better in that 65-minute game where the Tier 5 items drop?
We did have a couple of those in the group stage, but the playoffs has not delivered the Tier 5 items.
True. Those damn playoff teams getting wrecked. Just getting 2-0'd every time. But yeah, I've been very jealous of all the Tier 5 item games, as we have the Tier 1 tower to start things out here for Arteezy. Of course, this is the benefit of having somebody that, can just TP all across the map. You have a lot of catch, you have a lot of push potential. And Looks like they're going to try to get some kill potential onto Boom. Looks
Oh,
like
he
that's
missed
going to be
the
a
spear.
very easy kill. Yeah, Bach missing that spear, uses that arena. They're going to kill Gabby again. Very nicely done from EG, and they have the numbers here. Looks like Mars is going to be next. Bach getting slowed down to a crawl. They finally take out Boomy. That was a little bit of a delayed kill, but regardless, 3 going the way of EG, and the coil being used to take out Rubik as well. So 4 for nothing. This is starting to get out of control for EG.
All right, if they're going to dominate them this hard in the first 10 minutes, then they're showing up today. This has been really good from EG so far. 9-0, 8 minutes in. Every rotation has been successful. Crit on the Earth Spirit has found, I think, now 2 kills on the Morphling off of level 1 Silence. For a grand total of 5 kills, you see his kill participation there. They're getting the value out of the Nature's Prophet safely and that they're looking for. When you pick a lineup like this that wants to dominate early, it has this ability to look like the most broken lineup ever when everything clicks. And then when it doesn't, you're like, what are we doing? But so far, everything is coming up EG. Yeah, there's just, like, nothing has failed, right? Every move has worked the way they want
They
it.
can get Gabby again. He's going to get silenced, but gets the attribute shift off, and that was actually pretty quick timing there. Maybe there was a sound cue that alerted him to that. But the thing about EG, when they're successful, they've always been this, I say always, the last, I want to say 6 months have been extremely good in the early game. As we see Arteezy inside the arena, another silence here. It looks like Morphling is, again, he actually went to the top lane just to die.
That's a
Rebuke
replay.
onto 3, okay. That's a replay. Thank you, Cinder.
You're welcome.
Just want to get the play-by-play correct again. As Bach is going to die again, the replay, getting slowed to a crawl.
I actually really like that. Whenever there's a replay, you should
redo
you should
it.
Cast it in the same way, too.
Okay, if I screw up, I get to redo it again. It's a mulligan. It's an absolute
love that.
mulligan.
That's actually so funny.
9-0 advantage. What I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by a replay that happened literally 5 minutes. Okay, here's the arena. On to nothing. Okay? But it's interesting that EG is so good in the early game, but they weren't picking these early game lineups. Now that they are, they can expand that lead, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So, kind of a cool strategy overall from EG.
Yeah, I think this is the way they should approach the game now, right? Every time there's an arena on cooldown, we've talked about TNC's lack of team fight outside of that. So whenever that's down, you go to a lane and put pressure. You know you can TP in the Nature's Prophet behind and make treants. You already have the 2 smoke supports, both level 6, wrapping around on a level 6 off laner, mind you. Very far ahead.
Oh,
They're going to go for it
jumping
right
onto
away.
Bach. Yep. Oh, another Toxin. Okay, they didn't really coordinate that perfectly, but it doesn't really matter when you have this kind of a lead for EG, and not even an ultimate available for Abaddon right now. That is, whew, that's rough stuff. 11 minutes in, still level 5, and this will be a tier 1 tower going the way of EG.
So this was a really good dive play from EG. I do feel like the casting of it could have been a little bit better, though, so I hope we get a replay so you can do it again.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have a do-over on that one.
Every kill, let's get a replay today. People are going to love that.
I mean, when you saw in the segment with the gyrocopter dating show or whatever.
God, I had to re-listen to that over and over.
Redid that 3 times.
Here we go. You can see the nether toxin misses, but the finger of death from Fly, unbelievable usage. Nets him his, I believe, first charge of the game.
Not even level 6. You have to say it again.
Abaddon not level 6.
Good.
But he will
You
be
said
shortly.
Abaddon again. It's Abaddon. You had the chance to correct it.
So here's the thing. So Ice Frog made a point. Okay, so the correct pronunciation, technically speaking, of Aegis is Aegis. It's a literal word. We're going to see a jump in on the Gabby again. The silence is going to be enough. And absolutely another death for Morphling. This is not a hero you want to die on this many times, especially at this type of a stage. We have a Mars Arena used for defensive capability. Viper Strike is applied for now. Mana Drain on the other side of the wall with the break applied as well. Bach still slow to a crawl. Feel like we've seen this before. Armel is on the other side, though, on the high ground, as Tim's getting surrounded and brought down by EG, as they seem to be everywhere right now. Spear does connect into Ice Ice Ice. They might be able to turn this around onto Armel instead. This is a bigger kill than on Bach. So they end up trading a decent kill for an amazing kill. And EG just continuing to die. It's 14-0. Who's going to get the first kill for TNC, Cinder?
Well, with how this is going so far, they might not get one.
You don't. We've only had. I think somebody was saying 1 game on record at a TI or a major with 0 kills. Was that actually right? I don't know.
This was back at TI6.
Oh, was that you saying that actually?
Yeah.
Was it your team?
Back at TI6 in the wild card.
Yeah.
We beat Execration, I think 17-0. Do you know who was on that Execration team?
Who?
Abed.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
that's right. You were telling me.
He learned from that, and he is now applying it to his own games, and that's going to be...
Wow, even with the attribute shift going off for that long, yet
0.
another death. Boomy,
He has the ulti.
He's got his ultimate this
on
time.
Abaddon.
Abaddon is dead. But so is Rubik, and
Oh
this is
my
a
goodness.
shellacking of a lifetime.
They are actually... Why is nobody playing the Lil Nick's voice line?
That's true. That's a good
Are you
point.
guys going to play the game? All right.
Anyway.
17-0.
Yeah, this is a rough one.
They
for sure.
are getting bullied. So going into the series, we're talking about EGR lane heavy team. When everything clicks in the laning stage, they look like a team that can win against literally everyone in any given game. Like when the lanes go like this, they are just one of the best teams in the world. And they're showing why. They've just been snowballing
I appreciate production showing a replay on literally every kill, but we need a double replay when TNC gets one, okay? That is what we need to see. Anyway, as we see Abed laughing there, I want to make a quick point that's really important, Sinner. The pronunciation of Aegis, it's actually Aegis. Right? Like, literally a definition. You can look it up. But IceFrog messaged somebody at BTS and said, I don't want it pronounced that way. So if that's I'm fine with that, by the way. I like saying Aegis. But Abaddon sounds better to me. I know it's incorrect. I'm not saying it's not. And I prefer it.
And Abaddon is a mafia boss that loves 80s pop.
I don't care. I also say Windrunner still. I just refuse to make that change. OD, I just stopped calling whatever his real name is anymore because they keep changing it. So it's just
that
OD.
hero doesn't get picked, so you don't need to remember
That's
anything.
true. That's a good point. Although EG has picked it in the past.
They have.
But again,
Not in the recent
That was
past.
NADPC, which almost amateur league at this point. I'm allowed to say that because I'm an NA analyst.
Damn, you're harsh.
Don't worry, 4 Zoomers are coming out with it for sure. 17-0. EG.
I think a lot of the NADPC teams that EG had to beat put up a better fight than 17-0.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. I mean, what do you think this is? Is this a draft thing, or is EG just playing really well?
It's a combination, but I think a decent amount of it, honestly, is draft here. I think TNC's laning stage just isn't strong. Like, Abaddon Morph is a very defensive lane, and I think Mars Rubik can be good, but they're playing against an exceptionally powerful lane in a carry Nature's Prophet. So I think the only reason they picked the Rubik is because they want Fade Bolt against the Treants, but it hasn't cut it. They just lost that lane. In the mid lane, they drew. I think that was their best lane outcome so far by far. And they've just been outplayed. Like, every single rotation from especially Crit's Earth Spirit has just borne fruit, and he's going to find another one here.
Yeah, Crit has absolutely destroyed this game. Fly, will he expend the finger? No, he's not a greedy boy. I would have taken that charge for sure. We see a coil. Looks like it's not going to net anything, though.
The waveform.
Yeah, but the silence onto Gabby again. Looks like he's going to be brought down. Well, he gets the attribute shift off, but it's just too much of an advantage for EG, as Boomy will be the one to get out. It feels like the Morphling is dying and the supports are getting out a lot of these times.
All right, I think it's time to predict, Shannon.
Yes?
What's the final kill score?
I'm going to say 27-1. And Armel will be the one with the kill.
Who's going to die?
What do you mean who's going to die?
On EG's team. If they get a kill for...
It's always Fly.
Okay.
So we'll just go easy. I mean, it could
think
be Crit, but...
EG in the game position they're in now, I think they're going to turn it into a sport to not die at this point. So I think they're going to do their very best to keep it completely clean and keep playing their map advantage. So I'm going to be bold here and say they win one team fight with this Aegis and then the game ends. So I'll say 24-0.
Okay. You actually think it's going to end with 0 kills?
That would be quite the accomplishment against a team like TNC, but man, they've just been totally destroyed in this game.
I
mean,
Yeah.
okay, like what can TNC do realistically here, right? So let's look at what kind of fight they need to find in order to come back. They have to get a good arena.
They need a
right?
Blink Dagger first.
They need a dagger on Mars so they can get an arena. Then inside this arena, the spear has to land. Lina has to be able to cast all her spells without getting silenced by 3 different silences, or 2 silences and some stuns. Does Nature's Prophet actually have an Orchid? Because then they have 3 silences. He is not going Orchid at all. Okay, he's going full-on right.
He's going for the game ender.
Yeah.
BKB.
I mean, it is possible for TNC to pull off this kind of fight, but there's just so extremely many conditionals right now that need to be met. Ideally, Rubik steals probably Coil. If he can find that, that's very good against Earth Spirit and Puck itself. Notice how I said itself. I think Slice is very proud of me. That's lore accurate. Here we go. There's the roll.
Again, Crit, but the attribute shift did go off. Coil onto 2. Abaddon trying to do as much as he can to save his poor carrying Gabby. That's the 20th unanswered kill thus far for EG. And make it 21. Okay.
I mean, as I expect, I went into this series saying I think TNC are the favorites, and they're showing why in this game.
Wait, what did Kyle predict?
I don't know.
I didn't get to listen to that
I think Kyle
segment.
didn't get to predict, and that's why the game is cursed.
I see. Oh, now Bach, he's going to take a Viper Strike with the Corona. Oh my god, he just gets blown up. This is not remotely close. I don't even know how to hype this. 23-0.
This could be good educational content for elementary school for kids to learn how to count.
23. What's after 23, kids? Well, that's the death of Gabby, probably.
24. That used to be my lucky number. 24, actually.
That's a very interesting fact that I don't even want to expand on because I literally don't care.
That's very understandable.
Why was it 24?
No, it doesn't matter.
Now I'm curious. It's such a stupid thing to bring up. You might as well let everybody know why you brought it up and ruined the broadcast.
Because I was young and I didn't have any imagination and it's my birthday. So it was really boring.
That is actually the worst.
That is super boring.
It was so much worse
But
than I thought.
I do remember I was in a theme park and I won a really big plate of chocolate on the number 24. So it actually worked for me one time. It did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it.
Well, RTZ will not be able to stop that TP because he doesn't have a Basher because nobody buys Basher on Nature's Prophet Synderen. Maybe an Abyssal one day.
He could have had a Hex.
That's true. That would have been a better thing to say. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. So 23-0 EG advantage. Now, can we start talking about game 2, or is there any possibility of comeback here for TNC? It's not quite 100% win probability somehow.
No, I mean, they can definitely, they can find a fight with a Mars Arena where all their spells combine, and they maybe kill the Lion plus Earth Spirit early, or find a stolen Puck Coil and kill the Puck. But that's what we're talking. Like, good is not even close to good enough here. It needs to be absolute perfection, and EG needs to make mistakes at the same time. So, a tall order.
All right, I have a feeling TNC is going to get a kill here.
You're not going to go on Viper first and get away with this.
I have a feeling Bach. All right, he gets off the Mars Arena, and yeah, not a lot of damage being done by Ice, but there's the LSA. This is the first kill of the game for TNC. Can they turn it around? Rubik dies, buys back. Armel getting right-click despite being in the BKB inside that Sprout as well. He'll be brought down very shortly by Arteezy. Double kill for him. And now Gabby on the run has to waveform away. Boomy, same story, but different result. Looks like he'll be taken out by the right clicks of Arteezy again. So it's a 4-for-1 with the buyback coming out on the Rubik.
Well, you said 27-1, right?
I said, did I? Yeah, I said 20. I guess I'm not going to win. And also, it was Ice that died, right? So,
yep, that's true.
And
that
he gets tipped by TNC.
They all in-smoked 5 heroes and jumped the tankiest hero in the enemy team.
And they got him.
They got him.
They got him.
They did. They sent a message to Ice. Don't mess with us. We're coming after your team. We need another few kills and we'll be there. And what an absolute beatdown.
I mean, okay, let's look at this realistically, okay? If I was looking at a game 21 minutes in, you're down 12K, that's obviously extraordinarily, like, the discrepancy is huge. But we've seen comebacks.
We have.
Like, let's forget about the scoreline for a second.
Probe.
All right, this won't be good for TNC. And yeah, that's another death for Gabby. I'm trying to think of a silver lining here, Cinder. Is there any way?
It's a best of 3.
Yeah, there's another game to
silver
play.
lining. Imagine this was a best of 1. That would be very sad.
Yes.
That would remind me of a certain wild card that...
Okay, you've been on the losing end of these games before.
No,
so
never. I don't lose.
Well, tell me this. In this situation, as we see the first kill onto Ice... That's a nice reaction. Thank you, production.
Fly was looking at him visibly confused, like, did I do anything wrong?
Did you actually die?
What did I do?
But from TNC's perspective, not GGing out yet. Like,
right.
What's the mindset going into game 2? Like, do you want to try to at least get a combo off before doing so? Do you think it's a more of too defeatist of an attitude to GG?
I mean, if you're holding on to hope that there is a type of team fight you can connect, that you can win, or at least break even in, which is also a win. When you're this far behind, even trading 2 for 2 is really good, right?
Right.
If you see it, I think you play for it, right? I don't think TNC is worried about fatigue. They have this one series today, right? It's only this one best of 3, whether they win or lose.
Yes.
So you're not like saving energy for a later important series that you don't want to spend your focus on. You can obviously play out one best of 3 completely focused. So I don't blame them for it. I also think that just, nobody wants to GG out at this kind of score, right? Like you want to show what you can do.
I've actually, I mean, I've had conversations with pro players in the past where they would actually have GG'd out because they feel like it's kind of demoralizing and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and then it depends on how the morale of the team is, right? If you're having fun with it, like obviously you're not going to be having fun right now, but if it's not getting toxic.
I mean, they stacked 4 tips on Ice 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 after they lost a team fight 4-1.
It's true.
I think they're having some fun at least. You can see Gabby on the camera there. He was looking really happy farming these creeps.
Thank God I'm not dead for 10 seconds.
Gabby is with a big smile on his face here. I have 500 GPM. In my head, I actually have 250. He has 380.
380. That's better than
not too bad. Well, it's pretty bad, but given the circumstances, it could be worse.
Yeah, I thought it would be
And
worse.
sometimes that's the lookout we need in life, is that when things are tough, it could always be worse.
Thank you, Cinder. That's
You
such
could
a
have
positive
started
outlook.
in the playoffs and lost 2 series 2-0. TNC. That could have happened.
You could have been literally any of the other playoff
You could have
teams,
won
basically.
You could have won in your region and therefore lost, and that is good that you did not get first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arteezy finally pressuring a tier 3 tower. Oh, telekinesis on the Abed. He will live.
Nice try from Bok there.
Good effort.
It's basically impossible on level 4 phase shift, but I like the attempt regardless. Like, who knows, maybe you just click a little bit of Ice 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 or get a little bit overconfident. Why not, right?
Yeah, you can get a little lazy when you're up this much, for sure. I mean, again,
to fish for anything.
14K is pretty big, but we've seen comebacks before. Like the 29-1, I think, is slightly deceiving. Would you slightly?
No, it really is not deceiving.
It's a little bit deceiving. So now, for once, I'm trying to be positive here.
Shannon, I am a machine. This is a big win. They are very far ahead.
Can you please break it down for me, Cinder?
I don't know how this is deceiving. What are you talking about? They're losing everywhere.
All right, everybody says I'm such a negative. I don't know what else to say other than there's a chance.
29-1 is deceiving.
I mean, there's also a chance we get hit by a meteor right now. I mean, again, it's possible.
Oh, you broke me. I actually have emotions. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, this... Please stop laughing, Cinder. This is not natural for you.
All right, here we go.
Another pressuring of tier 3. Nope, Crit's going to jump in on the other side here. Yeah, Abed's going to use the coil just to make sure that this Abaddon, as the higher beings call him, is that... Oh, the Mars Arena on nothing. Huh? He's BKB TP. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Has his Assault Cuirass, and they have Deso. I don't know if it's on him yet for Abed, but it will be coming soon if not. So, yeah, there it is. So a lot of push potential now to try to end this game. And honestly, I would not be surprised. Roche is actually up. So, yeah, get second Roche. You get your shard on, I mean, Nature's Prophet is what I mean, actually, probably Viper, since you want to end the game. That's even more minus
the Viper
armor.
one is really good here, giving the poison attack the ability to hit towers and -1 armor per hit.
Wait, is it? Can you go back, Observer, to the Viper? Is it -1? I thought they nerfed it to 0.5.
Isn't it -1?
Oh, you're right. Okay. Because I remember when it was first put in, it was...
I mean, it might be 0.5. The
stacks is 3. So it's -3 is the most you can get, right? Or increase... No. That's increasing the
max
attack.
stacks. So max stacks is 8.
The original way that they had it with the talent and the shard was actually way better, but you had to get level 25, obviously.
Right.
So it's a nerfed version of that. Like, you would literally just end the game instantly with one team fight.
Honestly, it could be -0.5 armor. Sometimes the text is not updated.
In America, we round up everything, including our weight.
No, but seriously, though.
It was actually Crit that takes it.
Okay. More remnants. Remnants give vision.
But it looks like Arteezy has. He
bought one.
So he's the one that bought it.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, for the...
Actually, you might be right. It might be the other way around.
Either way, Nature's Prophet shard is these 2 big treants you get.
Big boys are going to go in.
Very nice. And then the one for Earth Spirit, you basically get vision of your stone remnants, which is crazy, and you get additional stone remnants, which sounds kind of boring, but it's one of the best shards in the game, for sure.
Tower's gone.
Yeah, that's a lot of minus armor now.
It is an incredibly feel-good shard, the one on Earth Spirit. Even disregarding the vision that you get from placing the remnants, just having so many, it's a really big part of the hero, the spirit or the remnant economy. Oh my god, he almost died.
That's pretty quick. If we click on Crit, you can see that he's queuing up 4 BKBs. We'll see if he gets those by the end of the game. Is this
He did go for the Vessel, by the way. We've seen it used twice, I think, on the Morph.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it resulted in a kill. Most of the kills on the Morph has just been silence chaining.
Yeah, Arteezy with the Aegis, not... I mean, he definitely doesn't want to be the second person to die this game, so he made sure that he got that one. Okay, he's going to get speared into the range racks, into the LSA. Mars Arena to follow. Can they actually take out Arteezy? Well, they're going to take out Mars first. Crit. Okay, he will be the second kill of the game for TNC. As now Boomy gets the Aphotic Shield off. Arteezy pops back up with that Aegis being used.
3-2-3.
Very close. Yeah, that was a split-second decision. We'll have to get an instant replay of that scoreline for sure, as Arteezy and Abed are just cleaning up. I believe GG's will be called here shortly, as it is now officially 36-3, and I think that's where we'll probably end. Or they'll just hold on longer. That's also a possibility.
Tims is going to defend here. Throwing out the orb.
Yeah, what's a buyback on?
It did not defend.
Really? I mean, one benefit of being such low level is you'll be up soon, so you can have one more defense after the megas come up, of course.
And that, you know, the
all right, GG's are called!
36
Unbelievable game by EG.
36-3 and megas. To be honest, they are a little bit deceiving.
Yeah, it's deceiving, like I said. So EG handling business here today, and that
what a stomp.
Yeah, we keep getting these clowny games. That was okay. We've had Gaben level shellackings. I feel like that is somehow a higher tier.
That is the most one-sided game we've had this tournament, I think.
Easily.
That was completely... They just got run over. EG drafted strong lanes. They outplayed them by more than they probably should have in both top and bottom lane. And they just took advantage of, okay, we have this insane timing with our Viper having an item and our Nature's Prophet safe lane having levels. We're just going to run at you. We're too tanky, we're too strong, you can't fight us. You have an Abaddon 5, you have a Rubik 4, these two supports. That is honestly my biggest question mark for TNC's draft, is how did they arrive on Abaddon Rubik as their support duo in a meta that is so fast in terms of fighting? And then, if you have these low damage supports, you can't also pick a Morphling 1. Like, there was just, they had so little to bring to the table strategically here that I really want to see a different TNC in Game 2. I want them to be more, like, obviously they're going to be more competitive than this. It's almost impossible not to, right? But just have heroes that have more damage.
Anything is possible if you put your mind to it, Cinder. And don't forget, you were able to laugh freely as a literal cyborg. Because I patch notes you last night.
Yeah.
I put a little patch in, a little hot fix, you know, human emotion and whatnot. But yeah, this was a beyond. I mean, I believe Jenkins is on the panel, so he can attest to it. I think this is beyond Gaben level shellacking, but we'll see what the panel has to say. Break it down.
Thank you very much. Yes, a new tier of shellacking has been unlocked. It was interesting to hear that Suns fan actually patched Cinderin with human emotion, so he's going to be having to deal with all those brand new human emotions, but there's only one emotion that TNC most likely is experiencing now. And chat, feel free to spam top is missing because they are probably mauling. But let's talk about if they can come back in this series or not, because that was probably one of the most dominant games that we've had throughout the entirety of